This is the story of my great-great-grandfather, Johnny
This
Starr,
is
and his great love for
April
the Blessed
6,
Virgin Mary. My name is
2012,
Julia Pagnucco,
Saturday,
and
the
I
day
hope you
before
enjoy this
Easter.
film.
And to my right is Sister Barbara Walenti, and to my left is Sister Aunt Barbara.
All right, Aunt Barbara, tell us the story.
Well, in 1955, I decided that I would be entering the convent, and I wanted my mother to go back to Ireland one more time and see her father. And I also wanted to go back to Ireland before I entered to meet my grandfather, because I was the only one in the family that ever met a grandparent. So at least I could come home and tell them about Grandpa Starr. So Mom and I went over on the plane, and we slept in Grandpa Starr's house in Mount Shannon there. And it was very strange. Everything was so different over there. The houses and in every place they have a fireplace, burning. They burn the peat there, keep the house warm. That's the way they keep the house warm. So you've got a mantelpiece over the fireplace and a nice wooden mantle, and it was cozy. So, but Mom and I had to sleep in the same bed because that's all there was.
But it was her home where she was raised.
It was my mother's home where she and all her brothers and sisters
That's
were
the one
raised.
I saw.
So anyway, Mom and I were sleeping. We went to bed. We were tired after the trip. Grandpa was in his room. He had a fireplace in his room too. So during the night, Grandpa, I heard this moaning and groaning, and I said, "Oh my gosh, somebody's sick." I shook Mom. I said, "Mom, I think somebody's sick. They're sick." She said, "Oh, go back to bed." She said, "That's just Grandpa saying his rosary. He gets up in the middle of the night to say it." And I said, "Oh, okay." We went back to sleep. So anyway, Grandpa had a great devotion to Our Lady. Very, very beautiful. There was a big picture by the door as you go out the cottage of the Blessed Mother. Beautiful picture. Big one. I mean a big picture. And beside that picture was the Sacred Heart. And you had to go by those pictures every time you went out the door. And Grandpa always wore a hat in the house. But he would never pass those pictures without taking off his hat and tipping it to the Blessed Virgin.
That's
did.
nice.
He did. Yes, he did. So anyway, Grandpa also had his little trip. He liked to walk into town. His custom was on Fridays to walk into town, and there was two things he had to do. He had to go get some Irish beer. Every week he bought himself a bottle of Irish beer. They call it porter. And he would buy a new candle for the Blessed Virgin. Candle when he prayed the rosary on the corner of the mantelpiece. And he would burn the candle when he was praying. And I think that probably, even though Grandpa blew it out, I think my Uncle Pat would go and check and make sure that candle was out after Grandpa went to bed.
Good.
So
Thatched roof and all.
we never burned the house down. It's still there, I think.
Wow.
So anyway, he would make his little trek into town and back again every single week.
Was he walking into Woodford?
That's I guess it's Woodford or Derrygoolin. I'm not sure which spot the bar was or where he did. But he had walked with a cane. He was a good walker, yeah. I've got pictures of him there, and but he was only 77.
Wow.
And so anyway, we had a wonderful time, and we had to say goodbye to poor Grandpa Starr, and Mom would never see him again because he passed away the next year. Well, I was so lucky to have met him and everything, and Mom too, to see him for the last time. It was so beautiful. So years went by.
This is my mom in the cemetery.
See, people just pass this down to me, this story. It gets a little bit embellished every time, and I think I've probably added something to it too. But you can go there today and probably ask people about what happened to Johnny Starr. They call it Johnny Starr's miracle, but it really is not a miracle, but it's just was a sign. Anyway, so the same room was there. Some of the family lived in the house after Grandpa died. Back and forth. It was a big family. But somehow or other, one day, somebody noticed that the mantelpiece started to split a little bit. And it split in the exact same place that Johnny Starr burned the candle. Every rosary. And so a little plant started to come out, some kind of a little ivy, like an ivy vine, as I understand it, but I could be wrong. And so people got to talking about that, that a plant was coming out of the place where Johnny Starr burned the candle. They started coming to the house and wanted to see it, and everybody, and it kind of got out of hand because they were telling their neighbors were passing it on, they were coming from other places.
They thought it was a miracle.
It was kind of getting to be a little bit of a nuisance and a privilege, and we questioning it, Well, I guess they went and talked to the parish priest and said, Father, people are coming to look at the mantelpiece with this little thing coming out of the top of it. And Father said, no, you can't do that. That's wrong. That's not a miracle, Bob. And so this is where I get a little bit confused about what happened then. Either the priest or the bishop said, you can't treat that as a miracle. That's wrong. So somehow or other, the family and the hierarchy of the church, I guess it was, decided that they have to investigate this plant coming out of the mantelpiece. And they said that if it had a natural root down below, it was natural.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It just happened.
Right.
It worked itself out through the mantle and into the
It was
corner.
a wood mantle too,
It was
right?
all wooden.
All wooden,
Yes,
yeah.
wooden. I guess made out of logs out there. They didn't have lumber they had some lumber, but anyway. Well, anyway, they said, well, we have to investigate this. It's got to stop. We can't do this. So I guess the priest said, we'll have to tear out the mantelpiece and find the root. If there's no root, then we'll have to do much more investigation about this. But they tore out the mantelpiece, that corner of it anyway, I guess. And then they found that there was a natural root.
Wow.
So that was
The end of the miracle.
The end of the miracle.
And everybody stopped coming.
They just said, that's a Blessed Mother's sign. Johnny Starr is in heaven, and the lady wants us to know that.
Yeah.
So it's just a kind of a homespun thing, but you can find people there that know about it or heard about it, maybe, that have visited. What happened after that, I don't know. They put the mantle back together, I guess, though.
Good. Well, they should. Definitely.
I'm not sure if anybody's gone back to see if it's resprouted again, but
Yeah.
it's something that we know with our faith and our love.
Who's in the house now?
I don't know. I think it's locked up, and they farm out the land. They rent the land, to farmers around about there. I don't believe Maura. She lives in the city. She's the granddaughter. She's Uncle Pat's daughter. When we were there visiting, every night the family would get together for the rosary in the evening in the kitchen there, and we'd put out the kitchen chairs and we'd all kneel on the ground and lean on the seat of the kitchen chair and say the rosary.
Wow.
And
Every night?
Even evening. Well, whether it was every night, it seemed like every night to me then. And then that was it. And we burned a candle in the kitchen too, and we were all saying the rosary.
What did he do for a living, Johnny Starr?
He was a farmer.
He's a farmer? What would they grow?
Everything, vegetables, corn, wheat, whatever.
What would his wife do? Everybody, what did she say?
She was raising 13 children.
Busy.
She kept kind of busy.
Did
She was ironing. But Grandma and Grandpa are buried in the cemetery together outside of right there in Woodford. I saw Grandma took me to the grave.
Huh.
Yeah, they're there.
Well, I think we probably went to the grave too, but I don't remember what year.
I think there's a Celtic cross on it, isn't there, Barbara?
think
The
so.
Celtic
Yeah.
cross, yeah.
Yeah, Grandma took us. I remember going to the cemetery, yeah.
Yeah.
In this family tree, it shows my great-great-grandfather Johnny Starr and his 8 kids. One of them was Anne Valenti, who had children including Sister Barbara Valenti, my great-aunt, and my grandmother, who then had 7 children, one of which is my mom, who married my father and had me and my 3 other siblings.